What is truly at stake in this NBA Finals? This NBA Finals isn't about who wins a trophy. This is the first time in a long time an NBA Finals sincerely has a major narrative shift, not just for two franchises, but for the entire league going forward. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers, two teams built through trades, picks, and pure grit. But let's be honest, none of them are playing with house money, and they're both walking on a tightrope, but for completely different reasons. Let's start with OKC. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having a historic season, winning MVP, Conference Finals MVP, and maybe Finals MVP too. Only 9 different NBA players have won both regular season MVP and Finals MVP in the same season. SGA could be the 10th to do this. The last time an MVP made the Finals in the same season was 2016 Steph Curry, and the first since LeBron in 2013. Speaking of firsts, he'll be the first to do regular season MVP, Conference Finals MVP thanks to the new award introduced in 2022, and Finals MVP. But if he loses the Finals, this is where the critics become vultures. They're already calling him a free throw merchant win, lose, or draw, but just imagine if he actually chokes it. Right after everyone's done repeating free throw merchant for the millionth time, the next thing people are going to say is that Nikola Jokic should have been MVP for this season. And here's the thing, they'd be technically right, but for the wrong reasons. If they're saying it because they truly believe that Nikola had a better individual season and you can make the argument, then that's a good reason. But if you're saying it because Shai choked, then you're just putting salt on the wound. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Or maybe it's a giraffe in this room, Chet Holmgren. If OKC loses, people will go back to questioning his durability, physicality, and mental toughness, whether he can anchor a team in the finals. All that praise he's earned this postseason could vanish faster than his frame against a double team. When you are statistically one of the greatest regular season teams in NBA history, losing could come back to haunt you extra hard. And then if you win, people are just going to expect it, so they're not that impressed. Of course, this is through the lens of a critic. What about a fan? If you lose, hey, this OKC team is young, they're deep, they're under the cap, and they will be back next year. It doesn't really matter. That's how good their core is. The Thunder have more pressure to win because they're expected to win, but they have the much wider window compared to the Pacers, and they probably have the widest window in the entire association. No, like, seriously, I challenge you to name another NBA team that has an MVP caliber player, a super wide playoff window, a ton of picks, and a ton of cap space. It's really difficult. Sure, there are teams with MVP caliber players, there are teams with tons of picks, there are teams that are way under the cap, but there aren't many teams that have all of those things. The Thunder do. And then you got people crying that the NBA needs dynasties and without it, it will fail. Well, be careful what you wish for. The Thunder look like they are going to be the next NBA dynasty with how much picks and cap space they got. But I'm sure a lot of Thunder fans are not hoping that history repeats itself, because the last time this team looked this good with this bright of a future,
stop it. Get some help.
Though in that finals, the Thunder were the underdogs, this time they're not. Speaking of underdogs, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers, and maybe we need to question that. Sure, they're underdogs on paper, they're the lower seed, they've been always fighting higher seeds, but if you really do an eye test on this team, they are not playing like underdogs. They are playing like they are supposed to win, and this might be their best shot. Miles Turner is a free agent this summer, Pascal Siakam's contract isn't forever. This isn't a team built for a decade of dominance. It's a team peaking right now. Sure, you could say that guys like Benedict Mathurin and Tyrese Haliburton haven't peaked, but their overall core isn't going to look like this in the next 5 or 6 years, in the same way that you could say the Thunder's core would. Miles Turner made it clear that he wants his payday that he deserves, and the Lakers desperately need a center, and he might stay if they win, but if they lose, I think he's going to explore his options. And yeah, Miles Turner isn't the cornerstone of the franchise, but I think that's the first domino of many if they don't get the job done this postseason. If they lose this finals, they might be kicking themselves for years to come. Yes, Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar in the making, but how many times will he get a roster this deep, this hot from 3, and this primed for an upset against the Thunder? Even if they do run it back with the same exact roster, shooting this hot from 3 again will be very difficult. Do not forget that this team is shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3-point range. The last playoff team to shoot that well was the 2014 Spurs, who won the NBA Finals by a record margin. If they could keep this hot streak going, they'll add their name alongside the 2011 Mavericks and the 2016 Cavaliers as one of the most impressive playoff upsets and runs in NBA history. And yes, if they do win, it won't silence all the haters. There will still be some critics who say they beat an injured Bucks team, then an injured Cavs team, they dodged an injured Celtics team and faced a Knicks team that wet the bag. But beating the Oklahoma City Thunder will be impressive no matter how you want to square it. One critique that I think is completely silenced is the Tyrese Haliburton being overrated critique. He was voted as the most overrated player according to the anonymous athletic player poll. I think that's dead in the water. No one thinks he's overrated anymore. he proved that he's not. So to summarize what we just talked about, if OKC wins, it will feel like the beginning of a new dynasty. If Indiana wins, it will feel like they overcame a huge challenge. Those are two different accomplishments. So to answer the question, who has more pressure, it's close. You could argue that OKC has more expectation, but pressure specifically, I'd say Indiana. OKC's core is just getting started. Indiana, while Tyrese individually hasn't peaked, for some of his veterans, his expiring contracts, and the overall Pacers core, this feels a bit of now or never. A loss here means the door might slam shut for years unless they do a really good job retooling. That's not to say it's all sunshine and rainbows for the Thunder, because if they lose, it will feel like a thunderstorm. Shea risks the MVP without a ring label, Chet's doubters will resurface, and everyone will say, hey, maybe next year, but many critics will feel vindicated that they only got this far thanks to the nice whistle from the refs, and the free throws that SGA got seemingly undeserved at the line. Now, legacies aren't the only thing that's at stake here. Let's look at some other angles, like the post-Paul George angle. Indiana traded Paul George for Sabonis and Oladipo, then flipped Sabonis for Tyrese Halliburton. The Thunder, they turned PG into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a pile of picks that netted Jalen Williams, which means it might be good news for 76ers fans if they trade PG for someone, or maybe good news for Kings fans if they trade Sabonis since he too played for OKC then Indiana. Or how about the quest for ring number 2, Alex Caruso versus Pascal Siakam. Alex Caruso, he's looking for ring number 2 after winning one with the Lakers in 2020. Pascal Siakam, he's looking for his second ring since his first in 2019 with the Raptors. It's the 2019 champ versus the 2020 champ. One will become a 2025 champ. In a way, this will feel like a first title for both franchises. Yes, the Pacers technically have 3 ABA titles, and yes, the Thunder technically have a title as the Seattle Supersonics, but the Pacers do not have an NBA title banner, and the Thunder don't have a banner specifically from Oklahoma. Both Tyrese and SGA have an opportunity to be seen as the greatest player in their franchise's history in the context for their teams. I wouldn't say that SGA is better than KD or Russ all time, especially not at this moment, but if he does win a ring, in terms of Thunder greatness, you can put him above them, as he would be able to do something that those two could not do, which is win a ring for the Thunder. You could make a similar argument for Tyrese versus Reggie Miller. Either way, both of these players are top 5 for their franchise all time at this very moment. Maybe Tyrese is a little harder because he doesn't have the all-time numbers, but the talent, sure. One thing that's for certain, the Hornets are definitely kicking their own behinds because they traded away both Kobe Bryant and Tyrese to Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles is regretting the fact that they traded him for Paul George. This finals is more than a championship. It's a battle for legacies. It's about proving the doubters wrong, about showing the world you're not just a flash in the pan or a regular season hero. So what's at stake here? If the Thunder lose this finals, the T in Thunder might stand for too young too soon, but given how young and deep they are, they'll be back. If the Pacers lose, the P in Pacers will stand for painfully close. This could be their one title shot in a while. The storylines are endless. It's not just a battle of two teams, it's a battle of ideologies, a battle of past trades, of new dynasties versus historic underdogs, of MVPs making history versus unsung heroes proving doubters wrong. So who do you think has more to lose or more to gain in this NBA Finals? Who do you think is going to win? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to dunk on that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Rebound Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.